What's going on, everybody? It's the Real Spiel live show. We're back. It's your host, Roman Kelly, with my co-host, Trevor Kelsey. It's been a while, Trevor. We've got a lot to discuss, a lot of topics that I want to pick your brain on, a lot of discussions to be had, a lot of feelings to be addressed, obviously. And before we do that, I want to know, how have you been? How are things going with you?
Already off the bat, you had to start by saying it's been a while, and now that freaking song is stuck in my head this entire show.
What song?
It's been a while since I smell your face, but it's been a while. But I can still remember just the way you taste. You never heard that song by Stained?
Stained?
Stained, yes, yeah. What can I say? Bands in a certain area were very tongue in cheek with their name bands, like Green Day, Stained. It was a band from another time, another era, and you can go look it up later on. But no, anyway, you got me already distracted by saying it's been a while. That's how little it takes to make me lose my concentration.
Tell me, how have you been?
I've been good. You know what? I can't complain. When Louisville was winning, and since the last time we talked, I think the Cards are 2-0. I don't know, just out of curiosity, if you caught something that happened down in New Orleans, your old stomping grounds. We have a new, reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl champion.
Talk to me about that, Trevor. Talk your shit, Trevor. You were right. You called it. You called your shot. Your Eagles did it.
What would Lamar say? Put some mustard on it, because they are the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions. Hey, listen, if anybody heard the show, and we have a lot, but anybody listened to the show before we headed for the Super Bowl, I was confident in a victory, wasn't confident in destruction, but I'll take it any way it comes. Blowout win. Two-time champions, Super Bowl, Philadelphia Eagles. That's now double what your Saints have won. And, a lot more than a lot of people have won.
You had to go there. At least we've got one.
You do have one, and we have two. So you enjoy your little time at the kiddie table with your one Super Bowl ring and your you and your stepsister having to share a biscuit.
You spent more time at that table than us.
Here at the big boy table,
you spent more time at that. Well, no, not really. No, that's not. No, you didn't.
Home biscuits here.
No, you didn't. It took you longer to get to that table than us. I mean to say.
Well, technically, well, yeah. I mean, the Saints were not a franchise originally in the Super Bowl in 1967. They were, I believe they were, 1971, 72, I believe?
Yeah.
So not far before it. So it's been, we had a couple year head start on you, but it's not too much. I mean, 70s in Philadelphia wasn't exactly the top of the cream of the crop there. But nonetheless, it was a good time. Had a good time.
67. No, it was 67. We were founded in 67.
Okay, so you would have been, your first year would have been the actual Super Bowl II year, which would have been 68.
Yeah.
All right. I knew it was early. I couldn't remember exactly the year. I was a little off. Sometimes it blends together, but I knew you were in that early area because it's the new. I mean, the Superdome was built in early mid 70s. I mean, I believe Super Bowl VII was supposed to be at the Superdome, but it was behind schedule, so they moved it to. That was when the last time I was at Tulane Stadium, which is no longer around. It's been torn down, but I want to say it was 7 or so, maybe 6.
Shout out to Drew Brees. But yes, Trevor, the Eagles ascend. The Eagles ascend to the next table of 2. They're sitting at that the 2 ring table now. How does it feel to have 2 rings? Both in your lifetime. Both you got to experience both at the peak Eagle fanness for you. That's amazing. That's like,
and I got to be at one, which is I can't describe how awesome it was, and being the first one especially, but. Yeah, this game was enjoyable. It was fun. We got to see a white guy play defensive back and score a touchdown. It's amazing in its own right. Not that he wasn't playing.
It was their Jackie Robinson day, they say, of white and football defenders.
Let's not forget the fact, we have another white guy playing safety right behind him. But hey, that doesn't matter.
We've seen that. We've seen that before. We've seen that before, Trev. This is different.
They call themselves the exciting whites.
They do. They are.
That's their nickname. They say him and Reed Blankenship, who may or may not be with the team next year. He's a free agent, but that is, yeah. So and I'm sure trust me, there's other white safeties out in the league. Not many corners in Chase and Horn and Cooper, but there are some safeties out there here and there. But yeah, it's a good time. Good. New Orleans looked rocking. The parade was fun. Some of the rookies looked like they'd never been hammered more in their lives. If you haven't seen the videos of like Nolan Smith, you got. What did you think about C.J. Gardner Johnson's play on the Super Bowl in words by telling the Swifties to lick his balls?
Oh, I saw that. That was interesting.
Go against the Swifties.
I was kind of surprised, to say the least. Were you?
I mean, no, because he's a very brash person. He's exactly what this team and this defense needs. That kind of old school Andre Waters attitude out there. I know he rubbed our man Mike Rutherford the wrong way from his 1 year he spent in Detroit. I think he referred to it as hell between his two Eagles tenures, but he seems to be an Eagle. He's gonna not to ever be compared to Brian Dawkins, but he's in a long line of favorite Eagle safeties. Most recently would be Michael Jenkins, who was former Saint and better Eagle when he won the Super Bowl with us.
That's good. That's good. What'd you think of the parade? I know you saw Saquon lift over the.
I took the ball boy out. We saw
took the ball boy in. You saw that?
Nolan Smith was so drunk he took someone's kid and almost ran off with it.
Yep. He was posted.
I enjoyed it. He wasn't the only rookie that was hammered there. There was actually several rookies you would see that had veterans with them, like it was like a shadowing to make sure they didn't do anything too stupid. Quinton Mitchell. Quinton Mitchell, the other rookie corner, doesn't get enough credit because he's black, I guess. Was also pretty hammered. He had I think Maddox, Vontae Maddox was kind of hovering over him, make sure he wasn't doing anything dumb.
Yeah,
it was. The fan. Where else in Philly would you get fans not only throwing, beer cans at the players on the over top of the bus so they could get drunk, they're throwing hoagies at them. And, of course, I know you've seen where one of the beer cans just nailed Howie Roseman, our GM, in the head. He told him I bled for this city, apparently. And he had a big mark on his head from getting hit in the head with a beer can, which I think Josh Sweat was said to be next to him at the time. And he said in an interview he laughed and Howie gave him a dirty look. Probably not something good you want to do when you're about to be a free agent, which Josh Sweat's going to be. No laugh at the GM for getting pegged in the head with a beer can, but it should be. It's gonna be interesting off season. It's gonna be a fun draft, but it's a great season. Great team.
Yeah. Shout out our boy right here.
He's gonna make some money. I'm telling you, I don't know if he's gonna be back.
Shout out our boy right here.
I don't know if he'll be back in Philly again. But I would love for him to be back in Philly, but on 1 year deal, someone's gonna give Mekhi Beckham a lot of money. Mekhi take it all.
Go get your money, Mekhi. Go get your money. I hope he could stay just because they gave him the chance and it panned out and it led to this. I'd love to see him stay, but he deserves a starting spot and some money somewhere. So I hope that can happen for him. Shout out to Mekhi Becton for sure.
I would be. I mean, he's the perfect right now with just nobody really cares that much about the Eagles' finances. But just if you aren't aware, I mean, you've got the left side pretty much all locked up with Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata both put under long-term deals. And Lane Johnson will be interesting. He seems to be coming back. He's on a long-term deal. And then now they got Cam Jurgensen. Still has just 1 year left on his rookie deal. So, I mean, there's going to be money to spend, but it's just a matter of how much they're wanting to spend on it. Somebody's going to come in and give him a lot of money, whether, may be worth it or not. I think I say you're worth it, Mekhi, but Eagles might not agree.
Defending reigning champs, Trevor. It's got to feel exciting. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you got to feel this again.
You got to put some swag on.
Jealous.
Reigning.
Defending.
Undisputed Super Bowl champs. Reigning, defending, undisputed Super Bowl.
Undisputed. Fair and square. Beat out Mahomes. Trevor, right. I want to take a second to I wanted to take a second to congratulate you on that. Let you get your thoughts out on there. The Eagles, and like you said, they're young. They're going to be here for this roster. Majority of this roster is going to be there for couple more years to come. So,
couple changes, and one of which I'd like to get your quick opinion on how much you know about him. McKellen Moore, now the former head coach of your.
What do you think? What do you think of him coming to my Saints?
I like Kellen Moore. I think I don't think he. I wouldn't say he got a bad rep in Dallas, but I think he got he got a lot of excuse. He had to take a lot of the blame, which is a lot of times OCs have to do or coordinators have to do in Dallas. I had no problem with the way this team was done this year. Play calling I thought was excellent. The thing with me though is when you have an offensive minded head coach, it makes you just less stressed when you lose your OC. Like, if Vic Fangio was to be offered a head coaching job, which he kind of come out and said he may not be taking one anyway. Now he's kind of happy to stay and retire in Philly. He's from here. He's older. Yada yada. That would worry me because I have. But when your head coach is an offensive guy, losing the OC never makes you stressed as much. You're not saying it's a bad hire. It just I'm not going to be worried, especially honestly Philadelphia. I mean, we've now been through 4 offensive coordinators in 5 years. That's something. Cleveland Browns are matching that, but for 2 completely different reasons. Our guys are all leaving because they're taking head coaching jobs for the most part. One exception being Ben Johnson or Brian Johnson the year before, but
yeah. I think. Kellen Moore. He's kind of proven he's a bit of an offensive mastermind at this point. I mean, he's showcased he can have a creative and deep playbook wherever he goes, and that he's going to figure things out with the personnel he's got on the offensive end. So can he lead men? Can he get a team, to buy into what he's trying to do?
He wants to air the ball out more than you saw him do in Philadelphia. They restrained him to have to be run the ball more.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know, but every time they threw the ball, it was on display. I felt like
and he's going to want to throw the ball. I don't know who your quarterback situation is right now. Currently, Derek Carr, but that's obviously not a long-term thing. And Kamara is probably at this point in his career not a long-term thing. You need to focus on Chris Olave not having concussion injuries and really just fixing up that offensive line because I know it has some holes as well.
Yeah, trying to find
a lot of gaps to fill. You've got, but I mean, like I said, if you move Kamara, you can free up a lot of money and make moves that way. And
that's true.
And obviously,
we've got a couple young weapons. I mean, we've got Shaheed. We've got a couple guys that are that can make plays. But
right now, you got Olave and you got Kamara. And Kamara's in the back half of his career, and Olave is still yet to show that he's as good as his Ohio State alumni, like basically your boy in Wilson and in New York.
Yeah,
he's had injuries though. He had the concussion problems and the fact the quarterback situation has not been great. Carr's not horrible, but he's a system guy. I mean, he's not going to win you games.
Yeah, the defense needs to get back healthy, and then the offensive line get healthy and add a couple pieces to it. Add a couple more pieces in the like you said, in the spots where we're just missing out. Hopefully, this team can get back right next year.
What I hope the Saints don't do is in a quarterback weak draft, which is his. I mean, there may be somebody that's under the radar that's going to blossom. You never know. That's football in its own way, but this seems to be a very weak quarterback draft. If you're the Saints, you're focusing on filling those holes and just being content with Carr for one more year because that's what he is.
Yeah.
And don't reach for who you hope to be maybe a franchise quarterback in the second or third round because you're not going to get one probably. Or God forbid the first round. You're definitely not going to find one there because I'm not big on Cam Ward and I'm really not big on Sanders at the next level.
I like Tyler Shuck if he could fall to a late pick to us.
I mean, Tyler Shuck probably kind of Derek Carr in the NFL maybe, but still, you already got that.
All right, Trev.
I hope he's good.
I don't have a sponsor here. We don't have any sponsors. So like and comment and subscribe below. But if
sponsored by Red Cup.
If you want to sponsor us, just let us know. I've got an email. You can email us. It's the Real Spiel podcast at gmail.com. Send in your offers to sponsor our show.
Oh yeah, I'll hold for any money.
We'll do whatever you want.
Yeah,
pretty much any amount of money as well. So just we'd love to sponsor. We'd love a sponsor. We'd love to get a sponsor. We'll put a little logo. We'll put your little logo in the corner of the screen up there, maybe. Talk about what deals you offer from your organization or just how good of a person you are. If you just want your name sponsored at the top of the screen, just let us know. We'll just put your name.
My name to your name.
We've got name sponsors. Two open slots for name sponsors. Let us know. We'll just sponsor you and talk about how good of a person you are for being a loyal listener to the show. But Trevor, I want to transition here a little bit. We have got to discuss these Louisville Cardinals.
Woo, baby.
These Louisville Cardinals. Today, as of today, we've moved up in the AP poll. Number 25, Trevor. What do you think? Is that too high? Is that too low?
No, we're not. I don't expect much. We're not going to get.
I thought we could have potentially got up to like 24 or 23 maybe, but I just like being in it. I mean,
right? we're going to inch our way a little bit here and there.
The coaches poll, which in my opinion is more important in the sake of how people really view your team. We're number 22. We moved up to number 22, slid up there, which feels good. That feels good. I'm happy about that. But Trevor, what do you think? Coming off these last two games, Louisville Cardinals, we just go on the road, beat Notre Dame up, 75-60. Pretty much, I mean, bad whistle and terrible whistle in the first half. It felt like weren't able to really kind of like get that true fluid offense rolling in terms of building that cushion we really wanted. They kind of were able to stay in it, and we were kind of letting them, Tay Davis was getting on the line. Well, that was more so in the second half, but the defense wasn't as good in the first half as it was in the second half. Obviously, in the second half, I feel like we just were in complete control on both ends of the floor. It took us a bit in the first half, I think. Not that we came out really flat. I heard some people saying we came out flat and stuff like that, and like we were kind of lacking energy or something like that, and I didn't really think so. We were still playing aggressive, but we just weren't really defending with the urgency I think we needed to, especially off the ball, like on players like Shrewsbury in the very beginning, letting him go off 3 for 3 or 3 for 4, whatever he started off like that. He ended up not scoring another point from that point on, or not another 3-pointer from that point on, I don't think. But
I wouldn't know. The damn coverage didn't kick in until 6 minutes into the freaking game.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Shout out to the ladies basketball game that we had to sit through.
Before we break down the Notre Dame game here, we also on the road on Wednesday the 12th. Louisville goes into North Carolina, NC State, and beats up on North Carolina bad. What did you think of that, Trevor?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Network, that problem would never happen on the CW.
Never happened on the CW.
CW never has that.
Come on.
I mean,
NC Network needs to get their shit together. They need to stagger the tip-off times. I mean, that should be common sense, and I don't understand why you're not, but at this point, how often are you going to let this happen? It's every week at this point.
If the CW has to cut off that damn rerun of Andy Griffith, guess what? You will never know if Aunt B got her bean pie or not, because they will cut that damn episode off and they will go to the damn game. Which is what they'll do on this Saturday when we play Florida State at noon.
What show is that?
Andy Griffith. And Andy. You've never heard of the Andy Griffith show?
Well, I've heard of it, but what you said? Eat her bean pie? I've never heard about that. I've heard the Andy Griffith show. I didn't realize that was what you were talking about, though.
What do you think a bean pie was there, pervert?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that was code for something or not. I don't know if that was code.
That's poo-tang, not bean. Bean is something different, even though there is a bean there. But that's another story for another day. All right, and that's flicking the. I digress. Okay. Enough sexual innuendo talks here.
But Louisville goes into North Carolina 7.5-point favorites. Not North Carolina, NC State.
Yeah. Okay, one more sexual window. The NC State game pitched a tent. Okay, there's one last one there for you.
Yeah,
that's what that game was. That was a blowout. I know some people will point at Louisville with the turnovers that they had in the game, which was a season high. I want to say like 16 or something, 15, 17.
We were sloppy in that first half, bad, and really in that beginning of the second half as well.
But it was another destruction of a team that they had no problem beating, which kind of brings me back before I talk about real quick my thoughts on this Notre Dame game. You asked me about the poll. I'm not surprised. If you watch and I didn't expect to hear Louisville's name in the tournament of thing they did, the little preview thing where they announced the top 4 seeds in all 4 brackets on Saturday or Sunday, whatever day it was. They blend together now. Louisville didn't get mentioned. Kentucky came in as a 3, obviously, for the Kentucky fans out there. Louisville not getting mentioned didn't surprise me because, again, and so it doesn't surprise me with the bracket or with the coaches or even the AP poll, because no matter what Louisville's going to do in these games, and they are doing it in dominating fashion, even in the Notre Dame game where they don't play their best, still win by 15 on the road, it's not going to matter to anybody because no one takes into the competition seriously. And I think that's a mistake and I'm loving to see from a lot of people, because if you watch this Louisville team, I mean, much like the argument for this Duke team, I mean, yeah, they're both blowing out these opponents, and and everyone else is getting by. Close game here, close game there. It gives us reason to worry looking at a game like Florida State, where they're 15-10, but they've got close losses. But they're close losses because they're playing. Those are average teams. Guess what? Louisville, Clemson to a lesser degree, and Duke are better than them, and that's why they're blowing out these lesser.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
With the exception of obviously Georgia, which happens. And you know what? And that's fine. And Louisville's not, if they're just going to inch our way up there with the with that's fine. I still think Louisville, will have their chance if they meet Clemson again in the AC tournament, and they meet Duke again in the AC tournament, hopefully. Another chance to show the naysayers wrong. And we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But when it comes to the Notre Dame game, it was a game I know, I was more worried about it 2 weeks ago than I was a week ago, or Dame Day as it is. I know you were a little worried about it, but Notre Dame's they're good. They're a well-coached team. I think the world of Shrewsbury. I think he's a great coach. They just don't have any talent, and they're not as good as Louisville, and you saw that in the game. Louisville is not going. Didn't play the best game. Obviously, Rain Smith missed a lot of shots he's not usually going to hit. Waterman took 5 threes. He hit 1. He missed all the other 4 were all wide open. And at one point, I just don't know how he's missing it, or the way he's missing it. I mean, one of them hit off the side of the rim. It was just it looks bizarre, and it was kind of I don't want to act cocky, but it was one of those games where I know how good Louisville can be, and I know how it's just kind of another stepping stone at this point. Like, I kind of want to get through the rest of these games and get to this tournament, because this is the Louisville team I watch now, and there's nothing you can tell me that says this Louisville team can't make a run in this NCAA tournament. They have everything. They're going to need some players playing a little differently when it comes to better games, but as of now, I mean, this Louisville team is just on all cylinders, man. And I know it's nothing new, because I've been saying it for a couple weeks, and I'm not alone, but they are.
No, you're right. You're completely right. They are able to take control of games on both ends of the floor. Then they don't rely on any one player to really particularly do that. While Chucky does spearhead our defense, and then is our floor general on offense, we still don't rely on him to be our main guy on the scoring end. Maybe sometimes he's taking advantage of his matchup more, and sometimes he's facilitating more. Sometimes he's taking more open jump shots. Sometimes he's probing the paint more, getting the defense to shift, and he's having a bunch of hockey assists. And that's more so the kind of game he's having. And then on the defensive side, he takes the best team's guard out of the game. And in college basketball,
I mean, yeah, it's in the help defense is there's not many that are better than he is.
No,
and it's funny because I know they play tomorrow, but I've been kind of high on Wisconsin this year, watching them play, and I still think they're the best team in the Big Ten. It's not, I don't think, laughable, but is debatable. But I think they are, and they beat Purdue this weekend. I watched them play, and I'm thinking to myself while I'm watching them, like, man, can you imagine they had Chucky still on that team? I mean, God damn, man. Good for us, because he's not. Because I mean, trust me, they're doing just fine right now without him, but I'm sure they'd love to have him back. But
yeah, I'm sure they'd love to have him back.
But you mentioned, I mean, that's just something that Pat Kelsey does so well with his team, and that makes his team so special, is that game by game, and right now that's, by opponent, lesser or not, is that this team does as good a job as anybody of taking advantage of the matchups that the opponent gives you, whether it be Hadley, who is just like I compared him to Ace Custis in the past, 6'6" power forward at guard. That is just a matchup nightmare, or Terrence Edwards as well, who, has just done such a great job, especially over the last month, of getting in the lane and making the smart decisions, whether it's letting the defense dictate what he wants to do, whether it be get the open floater, maybe in the N1, or if the guy comes and helps and lob it up to James Scott. I mean, he had poor Georgia Tech. He had poor Notre Dame guys on a string at one point during that game, where they were just basically, he was like, decide what I'm going to do here. Pick your poison, and that's what the Louisville's been able to do mostly all year, even in games where Rain Smith has poor shooting. Now, defensively, the reason they're able to do it, especially offensively, and there was no point in this game that I felt like Louisville was in danger. They put on their run when they did. They kept Notre Dame at bay. There was nothing like the Georgia Tech game. I felt like this was, in almost a cruise mode the whole way through, and it's all you needed to do, and that's probably good. Now you got to rest 6 day off before you got Florida State again, who I think is a tougher matchup than Notre Dame is, even at home.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting game. I don't think it's one to look over lightly, despite what we did to them in Tallahassee. But, let's not forget this also Florida State team, other than Miami for some odd reason, is the only team to shoot over 50% against us since that game. We gave up 56% shooting almost to Florida State in that win, Tallahassee, and since then only Miami's topped that mark against us. And that was a game that we kind of looked lethargic defensively, and obviously didn't have Chucky Hepburn in. So it'd be I don't know. I don't know really which direction I'm going in here, other than I'm loving the way this team's playing for the most part defensively.
No, I love it, Trevor.
Though, because when Waterman with Scott's going to get in foul trouble, and that's a given. And he's the guys. With the exception of the Miami game we missed, he's averaging like 2.5, 3 fouls a game. He doesn't foul out. I think Kentucky's the only game he's fouled out this year, but he does. He's going to get in foul trouble, and obviously with that,
say Scott? Did you say Noah or Scott?
Dayton Scott, yeah.
Yeah.
Is going to get in foul trouble. That's just the nature of the beast with the way we play, especially aggressively, and him being our one kind of shot blocker. It's going to happen, having to pick up, the way we do things. And when you rotate guys in because all three of our bench guys are all basically rotating the big man. Whether it be Troy, who's 6'5", but thinks he's 7 foot, Waterman or Roos. And when Waterman's in there and Roos is in there, it gives us a different, aspect offensively, but we take a step back defensively. And, Waterman's is who he is. Defensively, he's not going to improve. Roos has his ups and downs, and he's been very sporadic and had some issues defensively, which, is why we're keeping him at that 9 or 10 minute mark. And Troy, for all, God love him, he is what he is, but when he's in there, he is 6'5". He can only do so much. So, the big key off this bench is Waterman, and if Waterman can't knock down a couple shots, at least be a threat of stretching that defense, then he just, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze having him in the game, because he hurts us so much more defensively.
Yeah, he does.
And a big thing.
You saw it last night. He just when he has to match up against somebody who has the ability to move laterally really quick, he can.
Defensively, I'm not asking. I know Waterman what he is defensively. That ship has sailed.
Offensively, his man's sagging off. He's got the open shots, and he can't hit one. He's got to be able. The one he hit was contested. It just doesn't even make sense, really. 37% last year, 53% the year before that, 43% the year before that. He's a 40% on his career or whatever.
I assume it's the thumb issue is more than he's letting on,
well, he's got an elbow issue, he's got a thumb issue, he's got a wrist issue, and his feet are fucking diagonal. It's not working out for him. He needs a shooting coach. He needs to go see Scotty Davenport. He needs to go get in the telephone booth. He needs to go get in the telephone booth, Trev. Let's go get in the telephone booth. Come on now.
No,
you know how it is.
No offense to do you even know what a telephone booth is? Have you ever seen one?
Never been in one.
I was gonna say, what's the payphone? If we're gonna do that though, just give it to Roos, and
that's what I'm saying. Let Roos, because at least when one of them puts Noah doesn't do anything when he puts the ball on the floor after a hard closeout or after a pump fake. He doesn't do anything after a pump fake or a closeout. At least Kanai will try to make something happen. Usually Kanai tries to do too much with the dribble when he does attack the basket after a closeout or after a pump fake. But at least he's trying to do something, right? He has to just get a little bit smarter in his decision-making, because he clearly has the moves and the footwork in the bag to try to make things work in very minimal movements. Granted, he still goes out there, tries to go behind the back and stuff after a pump fake and little things like that. He could really just be a little bit more assertive, but
I'm not worried about Kanai's offensive game when he's out there, because we're not needing him to do a whole lot.
We're not needing him to, but at the same time,
I'm worried about when Roos out there defensively. He's struggling to pick and roll, especially on the road against quicker guards, and also something he does. Waterman doesn't do as much as he does. Kind of have a tendency to not box out properly, and
that's what leads to those fouls. That's what leads to those fouls on him.
The hustle does sometimes make up for it, but
Usually it does, especially in the longer rebounds.
There's a reason why you see the minutes are where they are at, and I love the contribution he brings when he's out there. And the ceiling is so high up I can't even see it with him. So I do love that fact. But right now, I mean, what we get from him is as good as we're probably gonna get from him. We just need a little bit more consistency, and it's going to be interesting on this game against Florida State because last time we played FSU, they had we had matchup issues with them. Hadley struggled. Rain Smith obviously saved us with his 3-point shooting off the bench in that game. Scott struggled in that game, but one of the big keys in that game, if you remember, was that Waterman was 4 of 7 from deep and was very big and starting role in that game, and us winning because defensively we had trouble stopping Florida State. I mean, Watkins is a matchup issue for us as is Ewins, but and it's going to be probably one again this Saturday coming up. I mean, they scored 25 and 18 on us last time. Again, Florida State shot 50%. I mean, we beat them by 14 because we shot 55% from 3-point land. I mean, we're not going to do that every game. We're going to shoot 30% in reality, which is about what we're doing now. So, I mean, if we can, I'd like to be able to force more turnovers. We didn't force a lot of turnovers out of FSU in their first matchup. FSU is bad about turning the ball over. In fact,
they're sloppy.
The game against us is one of their fewest turnover games. So, but that was again, for what it's worth, to be optimistic and not Debbie Downer, pissing off Robert De Niro, is that that was the game before the EKU game where the coaching staff has said this team woke up defensively and kind of came together, and that obviously Florida State was the first of that win streak, but EKU game, that close game, the Waterman game, was the game where they said defensively it was when they kind of meshed, and it has shown because since that Florida State game that Louisville defensively has been just a nightmare on everybody shooting the ball. And I know maybe you can argue some of the offenses haven't been UNLV 1990, but there's still Division I programs that are good basketball players. And Louisville, for the most part, has held most teams below 50% shooting, below 44% shooting. And if they're going to be Florida State, they're going to have to hold them a lot lower than 50% or 55% what they shot last time.
Yep, you're totally right. What's your confidence level going into Florida State? How are you feeling if you had to give me a percentage of chance that we're going to win?
Oh, I mean, my confidence, I'm 100%. I mean, there's no lack of confidence. If Louisville comes in and plays a B- game, they're going to win by 10 points.
Yeah, Florida State has been at this point. They're not giving up. They haven't obviously given up, but they're not playing very hard at all. They're quit on their home floor out against Clemson last time out.
Yeah, Clemson. I mean, they played Clemson twice, and Clemson just completely sodomized them both games.
Yeah,
and so I mean, don't be surprised to me if I expect Louisville to dominate.
They played toe to toe with that Notre Dame team for almost the entirety of the game. So
I mean, everybody outside the big three are going to play with each other, and
that's exactly what you were saying earlier. That's literally what you were saying earlier. So
I mean, outside the top three, the rest of the AC is at 13-year-old who just learned how to lock their bathroom door. They're just going to do nothing but play with themselves.
Yeah,
and that's all. And they're going to be competitive with each other, and because they're all average teams. But Louisville is a better team than that, which is sadly why the AC is probably going to have like 3 teams in the tournament. But I mean, right now, Louisville. I mean, obviously, at this point, I'm liking a 6 seed for the Cards. I mean, if they can if they can win the AC tournament, I think Louisville, the ceiling would be a 5 seed maybe. But I can't imagine getting a 4 seed, even winning the AC tournament. You'd need some help, I think, along the way, a little bit from some other teams. But I think right now, 5 seed would be the thing, and I would be completely content with that. Right matchup. I mean, there's nothing you can't argue. What's her name, Beth Antonelli, who I love, maybe one of the best play-by-play I enjoy on and listening to college basketball. Said it best during our game. Louisville checks every box. I mean, they have a playmaker at point guard. They play defense. They have a guy that can get off 3-point shooting wise. They have other supporting cast shooters. They have every little check mark you have of a team that's a 4-5 seed that makes a Cinderella run. I don't know if it's still a Cinderella run as a 5 seed nowadays, but in my day, God, I hate saying that statement. It was a Cinderella run to be a 5 seed making a deep run, and I think there's nothing you can't tell me Louisville. Now Louisville could go out and lose in the first round too, for all I fucking know. But there's no reason why they don't have the tools, and in fact they play defense too. I mean it's a big key.
You're right. I'm not really worried at all about Florida State. We coming onto our home floor. We handled them on their home floor. That doesn't obviously just translate to an instant win on yours, but I'm just not truly worried.
It's a good bit of week. It's nice.
Didn't someone also get hurt? I thought they had somebody get hurt for them as well. But I mean, yeah, Jameer Watkins. You've got to look out for the Jameer Watkins kid at any point. He can just come in. He's that kind of guy. He's a tough shot maker, so he can light you up at any point.
We dropped 25 on us in our first meeting, which is the second highest he's posted this year.
And it's the same game plan outside of it. Like, don't let anybody else beat you, and they can't beat you. So if you give him a tough night, which we should be able to do at this point, I just don't see them having enough offensive firepower to come in here and do anything in the center to us like that.
On a side note, hey Phil, I'm not responsible for the podcast. That's your boy right there. He's the one that ain't put the shit up yet, apparently. So look at me on that one.
What I not do?
He said you haven't put today's podcast afternoon show up on the podcast yet. So he's telling me, I like, I passed that up. Here you go. That ball. See,
did I not tweet it? Hold on here, Trevor.
After we get done doing this live thing, but hey, that's just me. I don't know what else you want me to talk about, other than the fact. I
thought I tweeted that out. That's weird. I did tweet it out. It's on Twitter.
Yeah, come on, Phil.
I didn't put it on Spotify on the main event page or whatever. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I never did that anyway.
I did that when we lost the login for something we didn't know what it was for a bit.
But
shout out to Phil there holding me accountable, of course.
That was me holding the Spotify hostage.
Oh yeah.
I'd be damned. I was getting my money. I was like, getting paid for nothing. I'm fucking getting paid. What are we talking about? So yeah, I mean, Florida State game was, and I like the fact that you have 6 days. It comes at good timing for Louisville, with just one road game left, and then sandwiched, amongst many home games to finish off the season. The Virginia Tech game being that road game. Be a nice time. We get Waterman. Hopefully, any extra time to get that done, and whatever else is ailing him. As I mentioned, healed up. Hepburn, obviously, the groin looks to be fine, but you never know. And you know what? It's good for Terrence Edwards. Congratulations to him. Being a daddy. He's got to get 6 days spending time with the newborn and the wife. Which after 6 days, he'll be thankful to get back on the road probably and join the team.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Are you worried about that at all?
Him having to be up all night with the crying kid. Hopefully half the time she's in the hospital with the nurses. So yeah, that could be a concern though. I mean, it's a noon game, home or away. It's a noon game. I mean, he's going to be probably tired. He's been playing so well, and the key to that has also been the shot selection. I mean, he's no longer just kind of forcing the threes as much as that was driving us nuts, and trying to force that square peg into the round hole, trying to get the shot going. Smarter shots. I mean, listen, he's got a nice release, but it is slow as shit. It's like watching Byron Leftwich throw a pass. I mean, the guy was like, I mean, it took like 10 minutes to fucking wind up the ball. But and it's a slow release, but taking smarter shots when they're given to him, and he's going to get the open shots. We've seen that now in this stretch that he's played well. Smarter is better, less is more, and no one's played better basketball in terms of this last few weeks. And it's hopefully can come at a better time as we get revved up into March. Oh, it's so beautiful to watch basketball nowadays again.
Feel confident in your team and feel good about what you're gonna the kind of product you're gonna get. Trevor, I have to ask. Obviously, we've got 5 games left. The Virginia Tech probably being the toughest opponent we'll play. You can't say Virginia Tech's tougher than Florida State. I think Florida State's tougher than Virginia Tech. But that's our last away game. That's our last road game. Any worries there at all?
No, Virginia Tech can be kind of a decent match. Their best 2 players, Lawful and I can't remember their guy's name. Both are like 6'9", 220. So again, that's Louisville's not big. I mean, outside of Scott, I know Waterman is 6 whatever 11, and Roots is 6'9", but they're also Waterman and Roots are face-up guys, and we've talked about their defensive lack of abilities already. But so, I mean, Louisville obviously, especially when Troy goes in and Hadley kind of moves to that 4-5 area, teams with size I've said all year have kind of worried me. Now hasn't bit us in the butt really too much, except small incidents, but not in actual game results. But when I look at Virginia Tech, that's the one. I mean, it shouldn't worry that their size can worry me a little bit, but not so much that I think that Louisville should struggle with Virginia. They shouldn't. Virginia Tech's not a very good basketball team.
So,
okay. I mean, they're an NIT team, maybe. I don't even know if they're 500 to be honest with you. I don't think.
I don't think they are.
I mean, they're an average team, but Louisville should have no problem with them at all.
Yeah,
Even if Louisville doesn't play the best offensive game like maybe they did against Notre Dame, they should win by double digits. There's no excuse not to.
You're right, and then after that we've got Pitt at home, Cal coming. We've got Pitt at the Center, Cal at the Center, and Stanford at the Center on our senior night. I'm not really. I think we're gonna. I really do think we're gonna run the board on these last 5 games, which is what you kind of need to do. Trevor, am I wrong in saying that you can't really slip up in any of these? All of these would be kind of a bad loss.
I mean, yeah. I mean, are you saying that is there a chance Louisville doesn't make the tournament? I mean,
no. I'm just saying like the one loss and kind of like really puts you in. One more loss could potentially put you in that real talks of being in that 8-9 range, right? If you don't go and do something, get the wins you potentially need in the ACC tournament,
or even 10 area. Yeah, I mean it's conceivable. It's Louisville. It depends on who they lose to and how they lose to them. I mean, Pitt and Stanford have been. Pitt's been on a downward spiral since pretty much we beat them, I think, and Stanford's been about as average as any other average team in the ACC, which is weird to say because it's the ACC. And same with Cal's been underachieving as well. So there's no reason they should lose. Now, I know weeks ago you asked me this, and I predicted Louisville to win out, and obviously they lost to Georgia Tech. But again, that was a game they shouldn't have lost, and I don't think I should be punished for predicting them to beat a team they should beat. And with what's left on the schedule are teams that Louisville should beat, not just by just the eye test alone should tell you. I mean, if anything, we're just a better team than these teams are. Better coached, and there's more talent. Now the talent level is not like so big and gapping that we should go into it and just put our thumb up our ass and not even try. But we should still not have any problems. We should still be able to have at least pinky up the butt and still win a game.
I think you're right.
As long as we try.
Anything else Louisville basketball related that you think we haven't addressed? I think we've pretty much have really pinpointed everything there, right? Like there's not
this past week, yeah. I mean that's pretty much what we got pretty much going on this week. I mean, I don't know. I mean, other than like I said, Rain Smith not shooting the ball well, but that's very rare, and especially when you look at the fact that a lot of the looks he got weren't like just forced looks; they were good looks. He's went it down, which is unusual because he usually does play. Shoots the ball usually better on the road. It feels like than he does at home, but then he shoots the ball well either way, no matter where he goes. So I like to see him get back on track a little bit better in the Florida State. And Florida State does defend the perimeter. It's not a very great perimeter defensive team, which is an example of why Louisville burned them so badly last time. But the size-wise they have, again, can cause issues for Louisville when they want to go. Hadley had issues with it last time, and I think Edwards did too. And Hepburn, they're going to have get into the lane. It's going to be a problem. Louisville's going to have to knock down some threes in this game to get the distance and the lead that they need. They should.
Yeah,
they're going to get good looks.
I agree.
It's just a matter of hitting them.
Having a player like Rain, though, at any point, it just gives you that opportunity where, like, he's like that Golke level kind of shooter where he can go off at any point.
Oh, of course.
And that can be the difference maker in an ACC tournament or NCAA tournament game where some teams just aren't prepared for what that means. ACC, obviously, everybody's going to know about that, but you just never know. With a guy like that, he can heat up and win you 2 or 3 games in a row. Just a player like that, and having Chucky and Terrence as a defensive backcourt pairing for whatever you're going to see going forward. I just love what we've got. I really do love what we've got.
Like I said, I just like to see defensively. It's going to be a tough matchup with you mentioned Jeremy Watkins, who's 6'7", slash, does a real good job of getting in the lane. Now, I think hit 4 threes on us last game, so he was a tough matchup for us. And but we were a little bit differently defensive team at that time. I think that was like one of the first games we kind of started to mesh. And so I'm hoping that he doesn't explode like he did against us last time. And he win. I think is how you pronounce the other guy's name. I forget. A win. He was basically their only other offensive option, not just only against our previous matchup with them, but pretty much all year long. And the 6'10" sophomore. And he's the one that can give us issues now. He struggles. We exposed him last time a lot in the pick and roll, which is why Waterman got so many open looks. But so that's going to be a thing. I mean, Bruce's going to get a few shots from that corner that he loves. Waterman's going to get the opportunity to take a few shots. Hepburn's going to get some open looks off the pick and roll, I'm sure, in the screen action. And because I think in getting maybe some offensive rebounds, because I think Hatley and Edwards and Hepburn getting into the lane could have some problems with their size. And it's Florida State for you. I mean, they've always got size. Like I said, I mean, they recruit like Kevin Bacon in the air up there. I mean, they're going to, no matter what era it is, Leonard Hamilton, this being the last of his years, is going to have somebody who's probably 6'10", 7 feet, and 7'2" at some point on his roster, if not multiple times. And they're going to play, and they do play. I mean, like I said, Watkins plays the 2 guard. He's 6'7". I mean, that's a good size for a 2 guard. I mean, that's our power forward, and sometimes 2 inches bigger than our center in Troy.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh shit! Sorry about that. Phil says here, I hope they don't watch U of L with UK because when we beat them, they're going to make excuses about their injuries. That's all BBN is talking about every loss.
Well, they have a reason. They're banged up. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, they are getting just, yeah.
They got hit with the bug pretty bad for sure.
I mean, they didn't have a point guard in the Texas game. I mean, I know they haven't had the Richie Farmer looking dude since I think he's been out for like 2 months. I forget his name now. But I mean, and Butler's been up and down. Jackson Robinson. I mean, those are two really good damn players to lose. I mean, Robinson's about as good as Brain Smith is when it comes to shooting the ball this year. I know it's hard to say as a Louisville fan, but he is. And Butler is their Chucky Hepburn. I mean, he's not as good as defensively as Hepburn, I don't think. That's not saying that doesn't mean he sucks. Because that's just, I mean, to be on Hepburn's level is just exceptional. Butler's probably as good as they come right behind that level. And I mean, Louisville firsthand knows what he can do to that team. And he hit 10 for 10 on us. He scored 30-something points when we played him. He was hitting everything. And he was a big part of that San Diego State team that made that Final Four run. Those are 2 huge guys to lose, man. I mean, it was a bad loss. And a game that Kentucky shouldn't have lost even with those 2 injuries. I know that's saying a lot. They should have stayed.
Yeah.
Because Texas is not – I mean –
no, yeah, you're completely right. I
mean, it's so much. You can only lose so much if you're Kentucky and before it bites you in the butt. It did. That was a bad loss.
But they got those young guys trying to defend now, and they can't do it. They're not ready.
I mean, they just don't play. They don't really. Defense is not Mark Pope's concern. He's not really trying to play defense. They want to outscore you. Problem is Kentucky fans. I mean, I had this discussion with a buddy of mine the other day. It's like the way Kentucky wants to play is fun, and it can be exciting. I mean, they're averaging 90 points a game. That doesn't really win a lot of titles. I mean, you look back in the history of the tournament, I mean, teams that are primarily offense-only focused that just want to outscore you, I mean, in the last, say maybe 40 years of my lifetime, let's go back to 1980 just for shits and giggles. I mean, I can think of only 2 times. I mean, UNLV in 90, which was just a special team, and that Baylor team a few years ago, was it 2021 or 22, I think it was. The Drew championship team. Those are both 2 teams that weren't really trying to play defense too much as they just want to outscore you. And there's been a lot of teams in history through the history of the tournament that have been good teams that have that mentality, but have not won. I think maybe the North Carolina team, but that was also because they had to beat Gonzaga, and that's what Gonzaga was we're going to score, and you just have to outscore us. Just trust me, no team with a Sabonis on it's ever going to play defense.
No, you're right.
So maybe if you let that slide, that's 3 teams. That's 3 out of 40 championships. 3 out of 40. When you got to 3, tell me the math. That's pretty fucking shitty.
That is shitty.
So I mean, which is why I love the fact Louisville can put up points and can score, but
And can win 20 games in February, mid-February,
they
20
play
wins.
defense, but they play defense, and that is the key to it. That's
How do you feel
I
about these 20 wins? It's not really a milestone. It doesn't really mean much, but at the same time, we haven't gotten to this point in quite some time.
I mean, how do I feel about these 20 wins? I mean, how do you feel about a blowjob? It's fucking awesome.
It feels amazing, Trevor says.
I mean, yeah. I mean, what kind of question is that? I mean, don't get me wrong. Last time I got blown, candy bars cost.
But you know what I mean. How does it feel to say it? 20 wins. We've won 20 games. Gosh, it feels good. It feels great. Trevor, I'm
going to reverse back to something else because we talked about a little bit in my happiness from the Super Bowl, and we talked about the coaching stuff, everything. But we forgot about the big news of the Super Bowl, the halftime show. Your thoughts?
Oh yeah, we didn't address the halftime show.
Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Kendrick Lamar fan. I was a respecter. I've always been a respecter of Kendrick Lamar and his rapping ability, for sure. He's just not always been like my go-to at all. He did it. He said the things he wanted to say, and it was like I didn't think he was going to say them on that stage, and he still did.
Eddie, that he makes the show more about his beef than it would be just about putting his own career on the spotlight.
I mean, the whole song's just don't.
I mean, it comes off to me like he's trying to use his beef with Drake to get himself more famous. That's some P Diddy shit.
A little bit. That is a bit kind of like what it seems like.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Kendrick Lamar. Listen, and the song, I don't mind it. I think it's okay. Of the maybe a handful of songs I've heard of his, it's the only one I can handle okay. I
didn't dislike the halftime performance at all. I just don't think Kendrick's popular enough to put on that position for one song like that. That's the mass song that the people are knowing about from the non-rap fans, the non-rap perspective of a viewer, which I'm not. I'm a hardcore rap fan. When I try to think about this perspective of the non, or even the not like you, Trevor, you're a hardcore rap fan. Not of any modern rap. You don't listen to any modern rap at all, but you're still a hardcore rap fan. So I'm thinking of the perspective of somebody who doesn't listen to any new shit at all. It's not who you really needed to go with, I don't think, at least not by himself. But I mean, he did. He had SZA on there or whatever. But I just, and the Samuel L. Jackson stuff was cool. I liked that. But that had the deeper meaning kind of stuff to it. And you had to be thinking about that in live time while you're also trying to think about the coolness of the performance you're seeing, which isn't an issue. It's just, they were doing a whole lot for a whole little, it felt like. But
this is someone who's witnessed one of these shows in person at Super Bowl, and I was in the upper level, which is amongst the other poor people, which is what we were after we had to pay for the ticket prices up there. You can't hear shit. I mean, listen. And if you look at like you get some like the sub videos of the halftime show, like no one's really listening to the concerts going. He's really just doing a live music video for everybody there. And that's pretty much, it's a show for the audience on television. And for nothing more, nobody there is really paying attention, and the few that are is a minority at best. And the same with when Justin Timberlake did his show at ours. I couldn't understand half the songs he was doing. Not that I'm not saying I don't know him, because I actually don't mind Justin Timberlake. I like a few songs, more than a few. But it wasn't until I got home and watched it on TV later. I didn't even know he did the Prince tribute. I couldn't see it from where I was, and I never could understand what he was singing. So most, and I'm not limited to Kendrick Lamar because it's not just him. That's for the most part, like the last 10 years of halftime shows have all been so extravagant and over the top, and then more about basically making a 20-minute live music video for the
exactly. That's just I hate that shit. I want a 20-minute performance. Try to give me a 20-minute concert instead of a 4 little mini music videos, actually, Trevor. It's not even one big one. It's like they're trying to make a whole bunch of mini ones, but whatever. I digress. They've got to try to make it entertaining. And if you're going to use rappers,
I don't know Kendrick's system. I'm not a big, and I wouldn't call myself hardcore rap fan. I think
deep down, I think deep down, I just don't like Kendrick. I've always felt like Kendrick shouldn't be as praised as high as he's praised for his abilities.
Fan of the style that he does, which is kind of, I know he's your boy, and I don't mean, listen, I want him to be as famous and make his billions of dollars. Doesn't mean he should care what I think. But they're like the same way Jack Harlow does the hip hop. Like it's that slow kind of. They all use the same beat. It all sounds like Rack Daddy song to me or whatever. You know, the wheelchair stunt and dance or whatever. They all have this. They all beats sound the same. They all use the same slow 2-beat clutch.
Yeah, I feel like you think that way about a lot of modern rap. I'm not gonna get into that conversation. But
there was a Mustard guy. I don't get what he did. Anything other than beats.
DJ Mustard. I don't know. It just was a little bit too much for me. I think he could have more popular. So he didn't even perform his most popular songs outside of the Not Like Us. Just we're more popular. And I don't know. Halftime show. That's what it is. It's gonna be. They're gonna be. I think like that for years to come until something massive changes them. But yeah, I wasn't even paying much attention to it. I had to go back and rewind it to hear if he even played Not Like Us after I watched it.
Well, I don't know his catalog, but I mean, from what I was told, I mean, he did like 4 songs and 3 of them were all diss songs about Drake. So I mean, clearly it was he had an objective to do, and I don't know, and me, yeah, I guess it's a diss song about him. I get you're calling him a pedophile, but to me, a real diss song is Tupac coming out and being like, "I fucked your wife." Okay, that's diss, and not to mention a true diss. Really, a true diss
like song. More like I don't like you. He's just saying I don't like you. I hate you this much.
No one's ever going to be on No Vaseline level. That's a given. But that's also because Ice Cube. No one writes better lyrics than Ice Cube. He's the greatest hip hop lyricist of all time. But why Hit 'Em Up is so great, and I love it so much more than anything that you're going to see nowadays with these little diss tracks, is that he first of all, the first verse he tells him, "I banged your wife," and then he goes, "You know what? You're not even on my level. I'm gonna let my little sidelings rap on you." And the rest of the song, if you remember, is the Outlaws, his little group, his entourage. I like how when it's men, it's entourage. When it's women, it's groupies. Nonetheless, same thing.
That's funny.
They rap about him and make fun of him because you know what? Tupac is, listen, you're not on my level. And that's why I thought Kendrick Lamar in this whole and in these little rap beefs to him and Drake are all just they seem petty and nonsense. And to me, I wouldn't be shocked that they're not laughing with each other behind the scenes, talking about how much money they're making.
I wouldn't either. That's a good point there for sure.
Listen, I got laughed at for 25 years ago telling everybody P. Diddy was behind the murders of both Tupac and Biggie, and I still stand behind that today. That dude is shady as shady come. I got laughed at. I've been laughed at for 25 years. Almost as much as I got laughed at when I told Belichick was a great coach. But guess what? It took 25 years. Took 25 years to lose my virginity, and it took 25 years for people to I was right on Damn.
I believe that Diddy had something to do with Tupac. I don't know about Biggie. I don't know about Biggie. I don't know about all that.
Oh, no,
maybe he did.
How much money did he make off that damn song? He has made money. He was riding Biggie's coattails until he didn't need him anymore, and he killed him for a purpose. He played it on Suge Knight because Suge Knight's a moron. I swear to God, I hope he's not listening.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get a knock on the door if he is. Shit. Trevor, that's covered. We pretty much hit our basis on the outline of what we wanted to talk about today.
Fun fact, I actually stayed at the hotel that overlooked the corner where Tupac was killed in Vegas one time.
Really?
It's right off the
you saw the intersection where he was killed at?
I went and got cigarettes at the gas station that he pulled out of after he got killed.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a nice little claim, yeah. So
that's cool.
I can tell you the other stuff I saw in Vegas, but it wasn't that cool.
Yeah, you probably can't tell all that on YouTube either.
There's some videos out there. Speaking of being up in our modern culture, Saturday Night Live this weekend, did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah, we did not talk about that. I loved it. Loved it.
You being a young pup, did you have to Google? Because listen, I was very proud of myself.
I was Googling the people.
Oh, no, I only had to Google like 3 times. Now, granted, the very first opening act, I had no idea who Sabrina Carpenter was.
Oh, no. I see. We were probably Googling opposite. I was Googling who the fuck is that old ass guy?
Paul Simon?
Who the hell is that? You know what I'm saying?
Paul Simon is a god.
I knew who Paul Simon was, but I'm talking about they show guys in the crowd and they would talk for a minute, and I try to Google who it is real quick. Little things like that. I wasn't doing a whole lot of Googling.
The first segment I had to Google because I didn't recognize Kim Kardashian, and I didn't recognize.
Really?
And I didn't know
Scarlett Johansson.
I knew her, but I didn't know the skit with the little hands. I'm not up to date with some of the more modern, popular skits. So
yeah, that one's hilarious. Fuck,
yeah,
I want to go back and watch it.
I thought Eddie Murphy doing the Tracy Tracy was hilarious. And, you know, I want you 4 cheese.
Oh, that was funny. That was funny. That was hilarious.
I loved. It was crazy because when it came on, they did the Black Jeopardy skit. The first thing I thought was, how do you not bring Doug from the Tom Hanks Doug character? He was awesome on that skit, and they snuck him at the end, which for some reason is getting controversy. I don't know why. I thought it was hilarious.
I think it's because people don't remember the first skit. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing the same thing he did in the skit. But yeah, I love the Debbie Downer one. I thought the whole.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with the girl who gets abducted by aliens skit in the past, but the one
I've seen it. I've seen it before.
I laughed my ass off when she looked over and said, no one mows the grass in the wintertime. Am I right, ladies? I just between that and the girl who you don't want to meet at a party, I'd never seen her before and could not stop. Read a phone, Michael. I mean,
that was funny.
I thought I was very pleasantly surprised. And the Saturday edition they did with all the music, I thought was really cool.
Yeah, and then all day leading up to it on Sunday, they were just playing different episodes, and same Saturday.
I was pleasantly surprised they didn't, because I thought they would avoid some of the more controversial things that they've had on there.
I did too. They did a whole highlight of the controversial shit, which I thought was cool.
And the only thing they avoided,
they didn't do each, like they just showed like a moment from each clip that was like you knew immediately that was controversial.
I did love more Michael's bullshit when he said no one's ever been banned, which is total bullshit. Because that was the case, let me ask you a question: where's Martin Lawrence been? Because that was one to avoid it. I don't know. You can go Google it. He's been banned for life for he going over the top in his one time hosting. Now, he claims he was in a dark spot. He was probably doing a lot of drugs, and he probably was, but. You know, who wasn't on that show? I mean, still, but they talked, they focused, they brought the Ashley Simpson thing, moved past it very quickly, but brought it up. You know, talked about Sinead O'Connor and the whole ripping up the Pope, and it was pretty cool. I thought Saturday's thing on the music, and then Sunday I love the John Mulaney. 400 something hosts, and only 2 have been convicted of murder. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
By the way, O.J. Simpson, Robert Blake were those 2. I didn't have to Google that one, which is sad. I knew that one off the top of my head. The only thing I thought was weird was the show started in October, so it's not even the 50th anniversary technically until October. So they are a little premature here, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and I remember in the documentary that was October. That is funny that they I didn't think about that.
October 11th, I want to say.
Yeah. Or 17th or something. Yeah.
There's a cool movie on Netflix. It didn't get great reviews. It's not the best movie, but it's
I liked it. I loved it.
Have you seen it by Jason Reitman?
Yeah.
The movie, not the documentary on Prime. There's
on Netflix called Saturday Night.
Yeah, it's a movie by Jason Reitman. Yeah, it's not a great. It was funny. I thought it had some moments, but
it was like a movie version of a documentary or something. Like not even because it was in live time, but. Like live time of the first episode, but it was like
it was a little far fetched,
a behind the scenes perspective movie of what it was like when it first started.
Like they had one writer in the bar like an hour before.
Yeah, exactly. I loved that. I thought that was
really, but it's
that was a cool aspect of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was some drama. It's a movie. What do you expect? But it was a good thing. Have you ever watched? You still watched Real Suspects? Have you?
But it's on my list. I'll show you the list.
It's on HBO. It was on there. I've watched it more recently than you.
I'll watch it. It's on the list.
It came on the other night, and I was so.
It's on the list. I'll get to it. I've been busy lately. I'll get to it. But all right, Trev. Is that it? Is that it for us?
Not a lot of time. You don't know if you have enough time.
Anything else you want to get out to our listeners, our 5 live listeners? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's show. Trev, I mean that's everything from me today. We're gonna get on here before Saturday. We'll be on before Saturday, before the Cards have FSU come to town to Yum Center. We'll probably be on Thursday or Friday.
No reason shouldn't be confident going into Saturday, but as my grandmother, when you grow up with grandparents, you pick up old sayings. My grandmother used to say, there's many a slip twixt a cup and a lip, which is an old English saying. For more modern version would be, don't count your eggs before they hatch. There's just because something seems a guarantee don't always mean that something crazy can't happen. So
yeah,
remember that.
Follow us on Twitter right down below. But I just made an account for the Real Spill at Real Spill Pod on Twitter, the same as the Instagram and the TikTok down there as well. If you want to follow us on Twitter, I don't know if I'm going to tweet. What?
TikTok's legal again, right?
Yeah, everybody's got it. So follow us on TikTok. That's where Abelson posts the college basketball content. Sorry, college football content. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to try to start posting some college basketball and NBA content on TikTok if I can. It's at least some March Madness stuff once the time comes.
Before we get out here, I know we got to, but I want to get two things. One, Miller Moss was on ACC Network earlier today. Nice little interview talking about football. I forgot to bring that up. Second, NBA All-Star Weekend. You're an NBA guy. Personally, I never thought there was a way to make an All-Star event less interested to watch than it ever was.
This was pretty bad. And I'm normally an advocate. For the changes to try to make things more exciting, but this was just not it. They're gonna have to change it again next year. Probably go back to the captain, the one captain format that picks the teams. The leader in the votes pick the teams. I think they need to go back to East versus West.
Why? I mean,
that's what I think. But they'll probably never will do that. I don't know why they just don't do that anymore.
The contest has been, I guess the political term would be mentally challenged for about a decade plus. I mean, they found a way to even make the 3-point contest, which is as basic as it gets, stupid as hell, with adding different colored balls and different point balls now. And I don't know how they figured out a way to fuck up the 3-point contest.
You don't like the new music these days. You don't like the new sports these days. Jeez, Trev.
East versus West, 12. We don't have to see defense. We'll see a few alley-oops. We don't see – I mean, what the hell? It's not rocket science, people. It's not hard.
I agree with you.
Yeah, for some
That's
reason,
going to wrap us up, though.
And some reason I got a colorblind colored court with
yeah, they got the 4-point plays. They got a full money rack ball now, money ball rack now. They've corrupted our beautiful game, Trevor. What can we do? That's going to wrap us up.
Basketball.
That's going to wrap us up. Like, comment, and subscribe. Like I said, if you want to sponsor the show and get your name at the top corner, or your brand or your company or your organization at the top corner for a very low price every video, and get a shout out, let us know.
Dogs are starved.
Let us know. Follow us on Twitter at Real Spill Pod, or our personal accounts if you want to do so there. Probably more entertainment on our personal accounts for sure. Trevor, if that's it, that's going to wrap us up. If you want to take us out of here.
Yeah, just people, please send us money. Unless you hate my dogs and want them to starve, you will not send us money. And do you hate my dogs, people? Don't hate my dogs.
We'd love to sponsor your company. Come on now. Put them on the show.
Feed
Sponsored by, or just your name.
Look.
But like I said, that's going to wrap us up.
Trev, send me money, people.
We got to get Trev the Super Bowl hoodie. The Super Bowl 59 hoodie. We need to get him a new hoodie, as you guys can see, people. That's going to wrap us up, though. We'll be back on Thursday or Friday or something like that before Louisville plays again. And Trev, or maybe right after Louisville plays as a media after post-game show potentially. But Trev, that's going to wrap us up. This has been the Real Spill Live Show. We'll see you guys on the flip side.